Welcome. Tonight we will be discussing the great sought after and world-renowned Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster is believed to be located not so ironically in the homeland of Scotland at Loch Ness. The origins of this story are quite fascinating, and the fact that its first sighting originates from as early as 6 AD by an Irish monk known as Saint Columba. He claims to have been staying in the surrounding land with some companions, when one day his curiosity was piqued when he saw a group of men burying another man next to River Ness. When he asked the men why they were burying someone, they explained that this was a man who had been swimming in the loch and had been brutally mauled and dragged under numerous times by a quote-unquote water beast. And although these men set across in a boat in an attempt to save the man's life, they were already too late. So upon the Irish monk's curious nature, he asked one of his followers to swim across the loch like the victim 6 feet below them had done. The water beast approached him just as the man before, but the Irish monk used his cross to repel the strange water creature, and to the disbelief of the other men, it worked, and the sea monster disappeared, or at least that's how the story goes. However, it was a claimed sighting from the 22nd of July in 1933 from George Spicer that gave way to the modern day spark as we know it revolving the Loch Ness Monster. It's what paved the increasing interest for decades after, luring tourists from all around the world. George claimed that he had went out with his wife in the car on the newly built road along Loch Ness, when they both claimed to see some strange, unexplained animal emerging from the water and leaving a path of broken undergrowth in its way. They described this animal as having a height of around 4 feet and a staggering length of around 25 feet, and a long, wavy, narrow neck, just thicker than an elephant's trunk. Sightings on the monster were becoming more popular at this point, with the new road that had recently been built, allowing for a lot more passerbys to examine the beauty of Loch Ness and in the hopes of spotting something unworldly. Only a matter of months after the sighting of George and his wife, a man named Hugh Gray claimed to have the first real piece of photo evidence of the sought-after creature after taking his Labrador for a walk. After a closer examination by others, however, it was claimed that it could have just as easily have been his dog fetching a stick in the water, or a creature such as a swan or an otter. The original negatives of this photo were lost for some time, however. But in 1963, a man came into the possession of contact positives of the original negative pictures, and was then able to put said proof on a projector, only for it to be later found out 30 years later that it was simply an otter being playful in the water. The most notorious sighting of its time though was referred to as the surgeon's photograph, which was taken in 1934 by a gynecologist named Robert Kenneth Williams. He reported to have been looking down on the loch one day when he was shocked by his sighting of Nessie, and fortunately for him, was able to grab his camera and take multiple shots of the beast. However, not so fortunately, only 2 of the pictures you were able to make out, and one of the 2 were slightly blurred. This one photo made headlines in papers and gathered quite a shock and disbelief around the world. And just like anything getting this much attention, it came under fire and scrutiny by skeptics and was later to be proved as being a hoax, due to contributing factors such as the way the photo had been cropped to give the illusion it was bigger than it in fact was, as well as the size of the ripples in the water, which didn't depict a large beast that people had reported upon in the past. And then there was a Discovery documentary on which showed in the original negatives taken there could be a white object seen when uncropped. And it was as if the object was being towed by something in the water. And later a full analysis of the photo found that the object was only between 60 to 90 centimetres. This was the first of many elaborate hoaxes to follow in the many years up until this point, with the most spectacular, in my opinion, being the George Edwards photograph. He worked with the National Geographic Channel and depicted a large mammal in the loch after apparently spending several hours a week out in his boat searching. However, it was soon found out after the photo was released that it was most likely the fiberglass model that National Geographic had made for documentary purposes. It said that on the boat tours that he did, he would even tell the tourists of his elaborate prank in confessing. However, there have been more plausible sightings by people in amongst those hoaxes, such as a sighting by Apple Maps. The satellite imaging can show a large monster, thought to be Nessie, beneath the surface at the far north of the loch, appearing at a whopping 98 feet long. There are a lot of plausible theories about our old friend Nessie. Many Nessie witnesses have mentioned large crocodile-like scutes, hardened plates sitting atop the spine of the creature in question. At least one native fish matches that description perfectly. Sturgeons. They can weigh several hundred pounds and have rigid backs, which make them look almost reptilian. Or could Nessie's head really be a trunk? Despite their bulk, elephants are talented swimmers who are capable of paddling along for hours on end. When it's time to take a few laps, their hose noses becomes top-notch snorkels, periodically jetting above the surface for air. According to paleontologist Neil Clark, this behaviour might help explain some of Loch Ness's early monster sightings during the 1930s. Back then, travelling circuses were a common sight throughout northern Scotland. Between shows, these groups were known to occasionally let their performing elephants play around in nearby lakes. Perhaps, Clark argues, a few peeping locals mistook these bathing behemoths for aquatic monsters. But I'll let you decide on your own. There are also live video feeds of the infamous loch you can view online, which I'll link in the description of the video below, so you can maybe see if you can spot the great creature that lurks in the waters of Loch Ness in Scotland. And I thank you all for listening. If you're new and enjoyed, hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification so you don't miss an upload, as well as maybe drop a like and comment and let me know what your opinions are. If you have any story submissions of your own that you would like to submit, the links will be in the description. Have a swell day or evening, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks.